Hey, everybody, and welcome back to For the Booze.
Welcome back to For the Booze. Oh, that's your line. Welcome For the Booze.
For the Booze.
For the Booze. So what's going on, Megan?
Not a whole lot.
Well, that's informative.
Well,
Thanks.
We do have our staycation coming up. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. It's been a long time.
I know. Not going anywhere.
I don't know why I always ask you what you got going on. I swear I just talked to you 2 seconds ago. I guess it's for the people. You did. I guess it's for the people.
For the peeps.
Not real sure. But we have a pretty exciting episode. At least I'm excited.
I am
because
too.
We're going back to Massachusetts. That's right, everybody. We're going back to where I'm from, and I'm super stoked about it. This is, again, I don't know how I always ended up living right near all this weird shit.
All the crazy stuff?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I know.
It never really dawned on me while I was there. And now that we're doing this podcast, I'm like, holy crap.
Everything keeps coming back up.
It's insane.
Yeah,
it's
I
insane.
know.
But I mean, it makes a lot of sense because I had a lot of paranormal experiences up there. So it's not that shocking.
Yeah.
But I do have something that we're going to play.
I was going to ask, do we have something?
Well, we have two things tonight. We have another podcast promo I'd like to throw out there. This is the #1 show on Good Pods right now.
Nice.
And these people are awesome. They are super sweet. They are California to the bone. They drink because they work is their thing. So we're going to go ahead and check them out. And if, you guys should all go listen to them. It's not paranormal, but hey.
Yeah, if you like the sound of it, go check it out.
Look, it's we all have to work.
Yes.
And I feel like we can all relate in the fact that work sucks.
It does. It does. Really does.
Totally sucks. But here we go.
Have you ever had a bad day at work?
If so, then the Fuck My Work Life podcast is perfect for you.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Kay.
And we share listener stories from the workplace, whether they're funny, weird, or horrifying.
They are always entertaining and will leave you feeling like maybe you don't have it so bad after all.
Find us on your favorite podcast app, but you may have to type in F***K My Work Life.
Because we're the idiots that put fuck in the title of our podcast.
And follow us on all the socials at FMWL Pod.
Can't wait to hear your stories.
F star.
I love it. I think it's hilarious. Look, it's a great show. They always have guests come on and talk about weird, crazy work experiences, or they have stories that they read, or they have voice clips. It's just a bunch of stuff.
That's so cool.
And it's super relatable across the board because no matter what you're into, you have to go to work.
Yep.
And everybody's got
a sucky story.
Such a bad one. But they're not all bad. Some of them are crazy and fun. And but the point is that everybody just has work stories.
That's so cool.
If you want to hear other people's, go check them out. They are #1 on Good Pods for a reason. Go listen to them there. Give them 5 stars. They definitely deserve it. They're
Good
awesome
for you guys.
people.
That was an awesome little promo there.
Absolutely.
I like that.
It's funny. But on to the paranormal stuff. That's what we are here for.
Yes.
And we are actually going to start this off today. We have a story that was sent in from Pixie from Next on Stage 1 and Project Podcast. I've heard this story before. I know you haven't.
I have not.
I asked her to send this in because I thought it was such a good story.
Okay.
That I was like, dude, I need that. It's a good story. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and we're going to play this story for you.
This is Pixie from Next on Stage 1, and I have to tell you about a cursed object that lives at my mother's house. It happens to be a Mayan statue that we've had in the family since the 80s. I'm to be a child of 3, and we have always seen this statue up on the bookshelf next to everything else. We always thought it might be worth something. We thought about taking it on the Antiques Roadshow, having an antique dealer look at it, and it just turns out that it's to be a souvenir. It's not really worth anything more than, hey, it looks cool, it looks great up on the wall. One of those things. But my brother was always infatuated with a statue. He always told my dad, that statue's going to be mine. When my dad passes away, I want that statue. Hey, let me have the statue. So about 6 years ago, my dad died. And my sister was very gracious enough to oversee the family estate. You know, everybody got something. My brother got the statue that he's always wanted. It currently lives at my mother's house. And this item, the reason why it went from simple statue to cursed object is because someone decided to make the statue into an urn. About 2 years ago, my brother, for all of his terrible deeds, had done himself in. And I'm not going to go into that story, but let me tell you, it was interesting to find out that my sister had the mortuary place my brother's ashes inside of this Mayan corn god statue. And when I say cursed, I mean cursed. The name of the Mayan corn god is called Huin Hunapu. With that being said, my sister kept the statue up on a bookshelf at my mother's house. And there are other ashes of other people. And many people have died at my mother's house. And this is just one of those weird instances. After my sister decided that the Mayan statue was going to be his final resting place, she would just leave the statue up on the shelf and it would be weird. She lives there with my mom, her 2 kids, and her husband. The things that can be heard in the house have been footsteps, heavy breathing. The house gets dark, and the air, everybody seems to be more agitated and more affected when the statue is not covered. And one of the walls that my brother had in his bedroom after he had died caught on fire. There's one wall socket there, and nothing's hooked up. My sister has receipts about the wall that caught on fire by a professional electrician. None of the stuff was hooked up. So they're not sure why or how the wall caught on fire. There's been weird shit like that. Another time, there has been an individual that my brother knew that was his best friend. When he was staying at my mother's house, he had witnessed what went down. And he's a very quiet individual. He doesn't talk. He's not very aggressive. But when the statue is uncovered, and this individual is there in the room, in the same room as the statue is present, he becomes aggressive himself. He starts speaking in a way that is unlike him and is more like my brother. And my brother is a very aggressive individual. So I cannot confirm nor deny what is going on in my mother's house. I do know the statue currently lives in a velvet bag with a towel wrapped around it in the darkness, because she says she doesn't want it out. She doesn't like what it's doing to the family. She doesn't like how everybody is reacting. The kids didn't know up until a couple of days that the statue actually contained their uncle. And it's kind of weird for them, so they're taking it in a different way. So I'll have to get back to you on that. My sister has threatened to have my brother come live with me at my dad's house, and I said no, absolutely not. I will not have him or his presence in my house. This is a house of peace, and it has been ever since my dad passed away. And that is my story of the cursed object. I did get to spend time with my sister and my brother for Christmas, so I hope you guys like this story. Thanks for listening. Thanks for having me on.
Wow.
What?
I told you.
That was so weird.
It is a crazy, crazy story.
Oh my gosh. So that, so many aspects of that were strange and weird, but it reminded me of a story that a coworker told me. She doesn't work with me anymore, but she knew I liked, ghost stuff. And that, I watched paranormal. This is definitely before the podcast and all that. Watch. She had these 3 statues that were almost like a live, laugh, love, or see no evil, speak no evil, something like that. It was like a trio of statues that was on a shelf on her wall. And she said only the middle one, like once a week, would be turned around, like facing the wall. And she asked everybody in her family, like, did you touch it? Did you touch it? Did you touch it? Like, freaking out. And she's like, what do I do? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I was like, maybe like try to put a camera on it if you're like really freaked out about it, or I don't know. But I could not imagine having someone's ashes in there on top of it already being weird.
I feel like ghosts have like a sense of humor or something.
Like, yeah. Like, I'm just going to do this. It'll be fun. Like, what?
I mean, look, I'm the kind of person that if I died and I was able to be a ghost, I don't know if I would necessarily try to be scary so much as I would just float around to people and screw with them all the time. Maybe we have this all wrong. Maybe ghosts aren't trying to freak us out or be evil. Maybe they're just fucking with us. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
I think it's a possibility.
Maybe.
But thank you, Pixie. The story was
much.
Just as incredible the second time.
Yes.
I got to hear the story in a little bit more depth, and it was mind-blowing, and I really appreciate you sending that
Thank
in.
you so much.
And if you'd like to talk to us or Maximum Oddities or Pixie or everybody, we do spaces on Twitter pretty much every day around 5, and, various people pop in and out, so come check them out. And you can ask all the questions you want. We'll let you do that.
So today we are, like you said, back in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
And we're not doing a location. We are not doing a show.
We're kind of doing a location.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a location. It's not a building.
It's a lot of locations.
Yes.
In one.
So this, if you've ever heard of the Bermuda Triangle, this is called the Bridgewater Triangle.
The Bridgewater Triangle.
Yes.
And it is spooky as shit, and I have been there. And it's, I'll tell you what. I'll just jump into this.
Just go for it. Let's hear it.
The Bridgewater Triangle is an area of about 200 square miles within southeastern Massachusetts. It's in the United States, of course. It's claimed to be a site of alleged paranormal phenomena, ranging from UFOs, poltergeist, orbs, balls of fire, and other spectral phenomena, various Bigfoot-like sightings, giant snakes, and something called a thunderbird. Mm-hmm. Thunderbird.
Like the car?
That's what I was thinking. Roughly bounded by the towns of Rehoboth, Freetown, and Abington, the area includes the Hakamak Swamp, Wildlife Management Area, and the Freetown Fall River State Forest. These boundaries were first defined by cryptozoologist and folklorist Loren Coleman, Loren being a dude, Loren, who coined the term Bridgewater Triangle in his 1970 book, Mysterious America. Other towns within this triangle include Brockton, Whitman, West Bridgewater, Bridgewater, Middleborough, Dighton, Berkeley, Raynham, Norton, Easton, Lakeville, Seekonk, and the place that birthed this legend, Taunton. I've lived in like 4 of these towns.
I know. And honestly, in doing my bits and like writing down these towns' names, I would have never known how to pronounce them if it was not for you.
Yeah, I got you. Don't worry. Just as long as you're not like a Worcester. It's Worcester, by the way.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, I've lived in a lot of these towns, and I actually used to almost daily hang out in the Bridgewater Triangle. It's where we used to go smoke funny cigarettes.
The smelly ones?
Yes. At the center of all this is the Hakamak Swamp. Okay, and this was the Wampanoag tribe used long before Europeans arrived. Before them, other indigenous people had inhabited the land as human